Boomer Sooner.
Upended balls loose, lay it around, picked up on the run. Cannon, he's to the 10, he's to the 5, touchdown!
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Welcome to the OU Huddle on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Also brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Now, here's the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland.
Welcome, everybody. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue.
Yeah.
On a Monday night.
Love it. Okay.
We're going to have some fun. We got 2 hours of OU football talk in front of us. Next hour, Brent Venables, the National Coach of the Week, will be here alongside Teddy Lehman. But this first hour, we call it the Huddle, or the Brent Venables pregame show. And I'm joined by two of the all-time Sooner greats. Please make welcome Caleb King Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
And Gabe Eichert, everybody. And we're going to talk about OU showdown with LSU coming up this Saturday. And we're also going to talk about Oklahoma's 24-3 win over Alabama on this show as well.
Woo! Pretty good.
Woo! Felt good. That felt good to say. I got to tell you, that felt good to say.
It felt good watching you say it.
Yeah.
We're gonna try that again.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about OU's 24-3 win over Alabama there tonight.
Yes!
Better. That one felt better.
That did.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, how we doing tonight, boys?
Oh, yeah. Well,
you have a mustache, first of all.
Yeah, do you like it?
It looks good.
Thanks. I appreciate that. You know, it just needed a little change up. You know, when we used to beat the ugly boys in Stillwater, we used to go with a couple handlebars and things. You know, I was like, let's get the wrong crimson coming in. Let's get a stash going.
I like it.
And so this is the look. Do we approve? No, we're good. Oh, okay.
Crowd approves.
Didn't matter because my wife approves, and that's all I care about.
Go.
So that's,
Smart
that's
man.
what it is.
Smart man.
But we're good. I mean,
Yep.
back to work. It's a little harder to get back to work after a game like this, being in the building. But, you know, it's always fun. We were talking about it. I was talking about it with a couple people already. And, you know, when you beat an Alabama, that beat a Georgia, that beat a Texas, it just feels really good, you know?
Yeah.
And you know how we feel about them. So, and it's not about them,
Well,
but
we did play them, and we all know how that went.
Well,
But
dang,
I know what you're
you
saying.
can't just let it go. Like, you should just let it go.
I know what you're saying. It's fine.
You work all this year with so many ups and downs and people pointing so many fingers. What's the issue? Firings. I mean, just so many things that OU has gone through this year. But the one thing that you can consistently say, and everybody that's been up here, whether it's been Josh, Gabe, myself, is that these guys are working every single week as if they're the undefeated team fighting for everything they have. So then when an 8-2, number 7 Alabama comes into Norman, Oklahoma, this is still OU, and it doesn't matter whether we're 5-5 or 10-0. You better show up with your A game because you can get whooped 24-3 on any given Saturday in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah. Opening segment brought to you by Community Coffee, family-owned Community Coffee, the official brewed coffee of OU Athletics. Taste the difference family makes. It was a cathartic night. It was a therapeutic night. It was a fun night. We partied hard like it was 2000 after the game. And, Gabe, we got to break this thing down. I think we got to start on the defensive side of the ball tonight. First time Alabama's been held without a touchdown in a game in 13 years. What a performance by Brent Venables, Zach Alley, and the Sooners.
An absolute whooping at the line of scrimmage after going and watching the film. That defensive line, and it was several guys
Oh, yeah.
that played at an extremely high level. Bama, they came into this game thinking that they were going to control things at the line of scrimmage, and they were wrong.
Yeah.
That was as physical, as an impressive performance as I've seen from an OU defensive line in a long time. And the defense was able to have the success that they did because the offense finally gave them something. And that defense got to play with the lead. And when you are playing defense and you have a lead, offenses have to operate differently. And so you got to see Zach Alley and this Oklahoma defense, you got to see them kind of dictate things from a play calling standpoint because of how the game was unfolding. And we just haven't seen this defense in that situation hardly at all since SEC play started. So it was fun to watch those guys on defense fly around. I think Stutzman set a tone early.
Yeah. First play,
set a tone, just rocking Milroe right underneath his chin. And it was kind of that way the rest of the football game. It was so much fun to watch. And I don't know when the last time is that we've seen an OU defense have that dominant of a defensive performance, but it's been a long time. And I can just tell you, I'm a big fan of it. We should do that more often.
I agree. Yeah. No, that's kind of been the talk the last couple of days, and maybe you got to go back to 2000, considering the caliber of opponent, what they did to Florida State in that national championship game. But there's some other nominees in there along the way. Caleb, continuing to talk on the defensive side of the ball, though. Sooners force 3 turnovers. They win the turnover battle 3-1, and all 3 were interceptions. And the biggest of the night, obviously, belonged to Kip Lewis, his second Kip 6 of the season. And that was the moment when you said this ball game might be over. I think Oklahoma's winning tonight.
Hold on. Who was that ugly guy he hugged in the end zone after he scored?
I think it was Caleb King Kelly.
Maybe.
My bad.
Yeah. My bad.
Mustache. Guy with a mustache.
Yeah. Well, we get a little replay here.
Here's the Kip 6, though. How about this read?
Yeah, and just it's elementary, same drop that you've been doing to the flats for your entire career.
Oh, here it comes.
And yeah, see,
no.
They cut it out. It's all right. Well, I just, there's a couple things here that happen when you're in the right place at the right time. You see Kip Lewis do his drop, run all the way there, and all of a sudden, Big Bro's in the end zone, right place, right time to give him some love. I mean, we love that.
You were just meant to be there.
I know it, but I've seen Kip Lewis, man. I mean, all these seniors and this senior night, and you think about it, you see a lot of schools around the country where they put senior night against that FCS school team that's coming in, and we talk about it, and man, next year should we do something where we don't have Alabama coming in, but senior night means so much to you. When you think about a Danny Stutzman, a Billy Bowman, a DJ Terry, Kip's not a senior yet,
Ethan Downs.
But yeah, Ethan Downs. I mean, so many people. All those seniors were my freshmen when I was a 6-year senior here, and so seeing them grow up, and then you look at the recruiting days, and so I've known Kip Lewis since he was 15 years old, and to see Danny Stutzman from 17 years old go through the process of being the little skinny, scrawny freshman that's coming in trying to make it at OU, and Danny with the nickname Toucan Sam and all that. You got to power through those things to become the Butt Kiss Award finalist, to become the 100 tackles and 9th tackle leader ever at the University of Oklahoma. So much growth in all these guys, man. It's so unique to see, and it's such a cool experience when you got 3 turnovers and you're playing lights out and you're feeding off of each other. It's contagious. Turnovers are contagious, and somebody has to set the tone. We talked about it already. Danny Stutzman, first play of the game, wake him up, let him know that this is not just going to be a field day for him. They're going to have to earn every single yard. And Milroe, a guy that we've talked about all year, ESPN has talked about all year, so dangerous with his feet. 15 rushes for 7 yards. Yeah, buddy. Welcome to Oklahoma.
I asked him about Kip Lewis, and he just went all over the place with that one. But
I covered the whole track.
What a pick 6. We have no more show to cover because he
My bad.
By the way,
I'm excited here.
Danny Stutzman named a Butkus Award finalist today, one of the 5 finalists. Yep. And more importantly, we found his jersey.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we found his jersey.
Who had it?
It was in the laundry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it wasn't stolen.
He called me.
It was in
panicked.
the laundry. Yeah.
Wow.
He called me. He's like, hey, is it, because he did post game with me and Plank. He was like, hey, did I leave my jersey in there? I was like, you didn't bring your jersey in there.
I think he thought we had a Tom Brady situation, but
well,
It was in the laundry, so we're all
Classic
we're all good.
misunderstanding.
Also worthy of applause on the defensive side of the ball. How about the kid Eli Bowen? They matched him up against Ryan Williams all night long.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. And Gabe, he came up with the first of the 3 interceptions there in the second half. Just read Jalen Milroe's mind.
Knew exactly what was coming, right? Formation, situation. He knew exactly what was coming in that moment, just jumps it and makes a massive, massive play in the game. Almost got there too soon.
Yeah.
To where he ran by the bubble. But it continues to just be so impressive what he's doing. I mean, he has been essentially lights out.
Yeah.
Since he's been inserted into the starting lineup, even when he started becoming a rotational guy, once he got healthy enough, we had heard that they were really, really excited about him in training camp.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you look at, not to start comparing guys in the back end of the defense, but my eyes tell me he's the best we got.
He looks like a lockdown corner.
I mean, he looks fantastic, Caleb.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the height, you look at the measurables.
Don't care.
And exactly, you don't care anymore because, and you love it because he had to earn it the hard way. Everybody would check to him. The Tennessee game had 3 balls thrown on him, and then over every single week, he's just so consistent. And you can see when a guy is locked in, laser focused. After that celebration on that interception, he's sitting there on the sideline and he's watching film. No, not celebrating, going crazy all over again. He got it out and he's locked back in, ready for the next play. It's just a true freshman that already acts like a pro. That's what we said about Billy Bowman, and you see where Billy Bowman's progressed. Well, what about Eli Bowen that's making the plays that he has? The upside, it's so exciting to see.
Third interception was Woody Washington. He got his 6th career interception. Hasn't had one, though, in the last 2 seasons, and he got one to virtually seal the game on Saturday night as well. Great moment for him. And then we'll take a look at the pick. Woody Washington, Gabe, he's had a fantastic career. His playing time has been limited a bit this season because of the position change, but this had to feel good.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. To make this type of play, and what a rush by our Mason Thomas. He had that right tackle in a torture chamber in the 3rd and 4th quarter. But to make that type of play on senior night, when that guy's been through everything in this program. I mean, just think about all the things that have happened in his 6 seasons.
Yeah, I think he would be the last class to, is he a year after me, to sign with Coach Bob, but then change in the same time?
I mean,
he's either that
he's
class
been
or the year
around.
after. He's seen a lot.
He's seen
Nike
a lot.
to Jordan. I mean, all the things. The Brent
important
Venable
stuff.
come in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean things.
But
recruiting, NIL. Yeah.
it was really cool to see him have that moment, and he's okay, right? Because he got kind of sandwiched on that.
Oh, he's great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alabama
he's
guy,
great.
kneed him in the back.
Yeah, it was not nice.
They were mad about
He had his
something.
moment, but it did allow him to lay on the field a little bit and really get the crowd. The crowd gave him
Soak
a
it
nice
in a bit,
ovation
yeah.
when he got up. That's nice.
Let's circle back and talk about R. Mason Thomas for just a second. He had a sack,
Oh, man.
another sack in the second half, but he also had the rush that led to that Woody Washington interception. And can't help but think what the future looks like for this guy, Caleb. And if they had a few more games this year where they worked with leads like this, he'd be in double-digit sacks easily by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the work that's put in. His pass rushing capability, we've talked about it for years, finally coming to his own this year. That was a crazy throw. But the thing about our Mason Thomas is his get off. His get off is elite. You see it there on the Woody Washington play. That's not 3 seconds. That's 1.5. The tackle opens the gate right away, puts his arm out. He gets a good rip or chop, and he's already in the quarterback's lap. What are you going to do at that point? Just so much skill. I got to sit with him on Wednesday at breakfast, and I said, you know what this weekend is, right? One of those weekends where, everybody's going to be watching the game. And if you want to go to the NFL, you could just go ball out, and your draft stock's going to rise. After the game, I just looked at him.
What are you doing? Tell him to come back. What are you?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with me, but I'm just,
This guy.
It's all about money.
He was
now.
motivating. He was motivating.
Fair enough.
Motivation.
Yeah.
I was in the moment. So anyway, I see him after the game. You call him the professor, right?
The lawyer.
The lawyer, even
Yeah.
better. And it's just right on cue because he looks at me, gives me the head nod, and just shakes my hand and walks on. And it's like, yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He made some money on Saturday night. There's no doubt about it. And not to get ahead of ourselves, but LSU's got the best offensive tackle in the country.
Yeah, so let's go make some more money.
And then the right tackle's a really good player, but the left tackle is as good as I've seen all season long. A kid named Will Campbell. I cannot wait for that matchup.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
It's going to be fun. Defensive performance for the ages. There's no way about it. First time in 20 years that Alabama's been held to 3 points or less in a football game, and Brent Venables' team was all over them on Saturday. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll go to the other side of the ball because the offense was fantastic, as well as the Sooners roll the Tide Saturday in Norman. And coming up, we're going to talk about the matchup with LSU. We got a night game coming up in Death Valley this Saturday night. Stay with us here on The Huddle.
The Huddle is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Arnold's got it. He hands it off. Robinson got away. 20, 15. Robinson to the 5. Get in. Touchdown. Xavier Robinson. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
I mean, look at that crowd. Let's just take a moment. We're going to brag on the offense, the defense, the coaches, and everything tonight.
I saw like 20 of you on the field on Saturday, I'm pretty sure.
That atmosphere. This was a 5-5 football team. It would have been real easy to show up and maybe not be into that. You guys were unbelievable on Saturday night. Yeah. Unbelievable. From start to finish and well after the finish.
It was, and Sooner Nation affected the football game.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Jalen Milroe having to go right up to those linemen, tell them what was going on. Yeah. That is how the crowd can impact the game. And I felt like the players fed off that energy and all the stuff at night with the lights and everything. I thought great. Being there, it was so much fun.
It's fun not kicking at 11 a.m. every week, isn't it? Yeah. You saw Xavier Robinson carry in the first touchdown. That was just before halftime. That was a big one. In general, the rushing attack for Oklahoma accumulates 257 yards on Bama Saturday night. Gabe, they found early that they could run the ball on these guys, and they never let up all night long.
They never let up. It's all they did, Tony.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all they needed. And where do you start? Let me start by giving this offensive line some credit. These guys have received so much criticism this year.
Yeah.
And
some of it from you.
It's quite a bit of it from me.
Yeah.
And it's been deserved, but the way that they went out and just pushed those guys from Alabama around, I mean, that gets me fired up. I was fired up on Saturday night. I was fired up watching the tape. I'm fired up right now.
Yeah.
And I'm fired up to see what they do against LSU because I don't think LSU's defense is as good as Alabama's. So now that I've seen them do it, I expect them to do it over and over and over again.
Yep.
But in all seriousness,
he's preaching in there.
Logan Howland, Heath Ozida, Troy Everett, Babechi Wiwu, Spencer Brown's the only one that was playing that won't be back next season.
Right.
I'd be surprised if those other four aren't back. We've got some very young, talented guy. We saw EPL get a series. I thought that he did some really nice things, but it just makes me so excited for what this group can be moving forward because that's the type of performance that just changes you as a player. Confidence is everything for young offensive linemen. Just believing, hey, I can go out there and I can block elite guys. I can block high caliber players. There's a big belief component to it. And I have to assume after what that group just did to that Alabama defensive front, those guys are going to believe, and they're going to have an incredible amount of confidence going into Baton Rouge this weekend. And it just feels like something you can really build on. And it's a good reminder that Bill Bedenbaugh is the best offensive line coach in America, people.
Yeah. And I got a comment on Beating Bowl. You know, the last couple weeks, you walking throughout the building, you say, "What's up, Coach B? You doing good?" And it's, hey. You know, it's normal, not saying much. I walked by him today and said, "What's up, Coach?" "Hey, Caleb, how you doing, brother? You good?"
He's chatty today, huh?
little tap in the step after you push the Crimson Tide
Chatty.
around.
250, get you talking. Okay.
We were 3 drives in Saturday night, and it was frustrating. You remember early on, there was the fumble. OU's driving, they fumble. Next drive, the trick play that was dropped and then missed the field goal. It was frustrating. But we were in a commercial break, and Gabe said to Teddy, OU's offensive line is pushing them around.
There may have been some other
There
words.
was other
in there.
words. There's other words. But, you know, there's a lot of things you could have said to me coming into this game, like the defense would have some success or they might turn them over, maybe this or that. I did not have on my bingo card that the OU offensive line would push around Alabama's defensive front.
No one
That
did.
was impressive.
No one did. But, and maybe this is just, I don't think this is an overreaction to one performance. When Brent Venables was hired, that is what I thought it would look like on both sides of the ball. And I'm not saying I thought we would only throw, 12 passes in a game, one of them being a trick play. That's not what I'm saying. But the level of physicality and the level of attention to detail.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought it would look like. And now we've seen it. Mm-hmm. And now these players have seen it. And this coaching staff has seen it. And who knows what the future holds offensively for the program. But we all just witnessed what it can be. And it's just extremely encouraging. It's been a rough season for this fan base, for these players, for this coaching staff. But we just saw what it can be. And I believe that creates a new expectation in that building, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, my favorite part about the run game is it's the things that are the basics. And we get up here, you know, everybody comes to watch Coach Venables say the same thing every single week. We got to be physical. We got to run the ball. And how we sit up here and we say, we put some counters in, and I'm telling you, for a linebacker position,
all the counters.
Yeah, every week I'm saying, as a linebacker, to see pullers and to react correctly 10 times out of 10 is damn near impossible. Like, it's just impossible. And I'm watching the film, looking back, and I see these Alabama linebackers going the exact wrong way over and over again, just lost in all the different pulling and formations and motions that we have. And I'm just impressed because it's really hard when everything's going wrong to say, all right, let's get back to the basics. And after all that we've been through and having Joe John come in and call a game like that, I'm just so impressed because when you can go into and feed into the chaos, you went back to everything that you had success with before, looked at other people's success, and used it in a game, and then you reap what you sow, you know?
And credit to the backs, the tight ends, the offensive line, and to Jackson Arnold. The coaches may say what they did was simple. I assure you it was not. Mm-hmm. All of the shifts, all of the motions, all the different ways that they got to the counter concepts, the way that the guys reacted when the defensive picture changed post-snap, they were dialed in, man. It was as crisp and as efficient as it's been all season long. Guys reacting to what the defense was doing, guys being in the right spots, guys arriving with physicality. It was fantastic, and it wasn't easy. There were a lot of moving parts. I think they utilized the bye week really, really well leading into this game, and they put some things in that gave Alabama problems, and it gave them problems because they executed it at a high level, Toby.
Yeah. You know, the Missouri loss was a gut punch, but the lasting thing that comes out of that game might very well be that Oklahoma found its next star. Because Xavier Robinson was very good late in that game, and he carried the load in this game as well. He goes for over 100 yards, and he looked fantastic, Caleb.
Carl Albert kid, Oklahoma boy, comes in, and you got a bunch of guys in front of you. You know, you got a coach in DeMarco Murray who demands excellence, and he's going to correct you in probably one of the most mean ways possible. Him and Coach B are up there, and you're going to war every single day that you make a mistake mentally, because your coach is going to let you know. He's not going to take an inch off, and that's how he played. That's the standard he held himself to. And so Xavier Robinson coming in, being a local guy who's always dreamed of playing at Oklahoma, being a guy that's had to sit back this year and question, like, am I going to redshirt? Am I going to do this? And there's all these things that players have decisions to make on, and you have to think of it as, man, they're kids making these decisions for themselves. And yeah, they take advice from their coaches, from their parents, but they have to ultimately make these decisions. He said, man, I'm all in on this thing. I don't care how many years I'm here. I don't care about what's going on. I want to play at the University of Oklahoma. And every time he touches the ball, he's running with passion. Every time he touches the ball, you see that there's a difference. How many guys has he ran over into the end zone already? He didn't play the first half of the season. Here he is every single time. Now he gets his opportunity to make the most of it. And it's just so impressive, because they ask you to lose a little bit of weight. You got to come in. You got to chisel down a little bit. You got to get a little bit faster. You got to do this. You got to do this. And never complain. Just put your head down and go to work. And, man, it just pays dividends. And I'm so excited for him, because he's so young and has such a great future.
I think one of the common questions for OU's fan base right now is, why did we not see him earlier in the season?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a very natural question to have after what he did against Missouri and certainly what he did against Alabama. But the reality is, he wasn't this guy earlier in the season.
No.
What you're seeing from Xavier Robinson right now is a product of his work. And getting up early every day and going and working with Schmitty and working on his body and working on the mental component of the offense and getting to work with Coach Murray in the film room.
Yeah.
He wasn't this guy earlier in the season. And to his credit, because he has put in the work, because he has approached it the proper way, he is this guy now.
Yeah.
He's the guy now.
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold, we can't stop talking about the offense without talking about him. Jackson Arnold had as horrible of a finish as you can have to a football game in Columbia. There was great question and maybe even questioning as to whether he should start this game or not, justifiably so. But he came out and balled out. He carried the ball 25 times, 131 yards, 9 of 11 passing. Clearly gave his best game in a Sooner uniform, and I think it was just his toughness that stood out most to me.
I could not be prouder of that young man. It's been a rough season. And when you're the quarterback, whether it's right or wrong, you absorb the majority of the blame.
Yeah.
And just think about what people have been talking about after the Missouri game. Like, hey, is he going to get in the portal? Is he going to go somewhere else? Where is he going to go? And he goes out and does this and leads his team. He was really good in his decision-making in the run game. He was really good in his decision-making in the passing game. They tried to scheme a couple things up to Bauer Sharp in the middle of the field, and to Bama's credit, they covered him.
Yeah.
And Jackson Arnold didn't force it. He saw it wasn't there. He pulled it down. He ran. But you mentioned it, Toby, the toughness that he displayed, the way that he finished all these runs. I have to imagine the plan was not for him to carry it 25 times. But it's how it ended up playing out.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you, the guys in that locker room have more respect for him today than they did before that game because of how he put his body on the line. That was tough guy stuff from your quarterback, and that's why he's the captain.
Yeah, and you look at that Tennessee game to this one, and you see a different guy. I mean, Tennessee game, he's doing everything himself. And you see the decisions. He's going through progression slower. Man, he was so efficient. It makes me think, this is the first time that this guy's getting all the reps, and these coaches have to go out there and learn their players as the season goes on as well. Because practice, you can go as hard as you want in practice. You're still different in the game when it's live and your coach can't stand 5 feet behind you. Man, Jackson Arnold went out into this game, and they gave him a couple opportunities to run the ball early, to get some quick throws, and build his confidence. And, man, it fueled the entire team. And he fuels himself every time he breaks a tackle, every time he gets a first down, and you see him talking, you see him having that attitude and that swagger about him, man. I'm just so impressed with how the coaches seem now to have learned their quarterback and now put him in the best position to make the plays that he needs to have that confidence that will then disperse throughout the entire team. And it's just really impressive because it took a little bit of time, and then when you're switching quarterbacks and doing all those things, it's even harder to pinpoint what do we have to do to get him going. And I think the recipe's cracked now. I think Jackson needs to walk in every single week now going forward and say, I'm that dude, and if I got to run a little bit, if I got to throw a little bit to get going, it doesn't matter because I can do it all. And he has to have that confidence because he's displayed it now against a top 10 team.
Brennan Thompson goes down in the game. Hated seeing that. Mm-hmm. But Jackson Arnold's now down his top 6 wide receivers.
Unbelievable.
And somehow it feels like we feel the best we felt about the offense all year long. It's confusing, but that was the way
they've got an identity now.
The physicality that they played with as a group.
Yeah.
And that includes the offensive line and Xavier Robinson and Jackson Arnold. But it just feels like they found something in this game.
A lot of stunning stats coming out of this game. Rushing yards by the quarterbacks, Jackson Arnold, 131. Jalen Milroe, 7. Wow.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. Preview LSU when we come back here on The Huddle. Stay with us.
Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Junior Kids Club presented by OG&E. And brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy. OU's 2024 football games are available on Exitos 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com.
They go empty on 2nd and 11 from the 45. Back to pass. Milroe looks right, throws right, picked off. Kip Lewis down the sidelines. 20, 15. He did it again. He did it again. Kip Lewis, pick 6. Kip Lewis, Kip 6.
Just the third linebacker in OU history with 2 pick sixes in the same season. Kip Lewis has made his name in OU history. We welcome you back now. It's time to go behind enemy lines, brought to you by the Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Before we show you the LSU graphic, never mind. Here's the LSU graphic. LSU 7-4 on the year, coming off a touchdown win over Vanderbilt on Saturday. Gabe, what else do we know about LSU, brought to you by Brahms?
Well, Garrett Nussmeier, their quarterback, is one of the more perplexing players in college football. Mm-hmm. There are moments where he looks like he could be the first pick of the draft, and then there are moments where you go, what is this guy doing? It's got to be extremely confusing for that coaching staff and for that fan base, and I'm sure frustrating for Nussmeier himself, but it has been up and down. The offense is the strength of the football team, though. Mm-hmm. They still, in my opinion, have not found what they want to be defensively, even after making a coordinator change. It has not come together for them defensively, in my opinion. And I think they're a football team right now that's struggling to find an identity. They have a couple of absolute studs on offense, though. Mason Taylor, the tight end, is going to play a long, long time in the National Football League. Kyron Lacy is going to play a long, long time in the National Football League. And then Aaron Anderson he can go. So they have big playability.
And the tackle.
Will Campbell's as good as I've seen at left tackle. Now, he's clearly the strength of that offensive line, but everyone was expecting them to be possibly the best O-line in the country coming into the year, and they have underperformed. Now, ever since they made the switch and made Caden Durham the running back, kind of made him the guy in the backfield, he's done some nice things, and that's a guy that a lot of OU fans are familiar with, him being from the Oklahoma City area. But the vibes are weird right now in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, they lost the season opener to USC, and then they ripped off 6 straight wins, and they were very much in the SEC title, college football playoff hunt. But they've dropped 3 of the last 4, haven't looked great. So it's going to be, if they got off to a slow start Saturday, it could be interesting to see what kind of atmosphere Death Valley turns into. It might turn against the home team a little bit. What do you think about LSU?
I think Garrett Nussmeier is a guy that if he sees your pre-snap defense and sees what coverage you're in, he can pick you apart. He's a guy that recognizes the pre-snap looks very well and knows where to go with the ball, has a lot of experience. But if he gets rattled, if he gets in those close games, and I mean, we've seen Brian Kelly punching tables and throwing fits about how they can't finish and do all the theatrics, but in reality, in a lot of those close games, interceptions, turnovers, and giving the game away does happen. And with a team like Oklahoma coming in that has played in so many close games and has fallen kind of in a similar situation there where we haven't capitalized, man, take this momentum from Alabama into that game, mix up your looks, feed off those defensive backs, put a guy like Eli Bowen, who after guarding Ryan Williams, I believe can guard anybody in the country, have him go up and lock down a Kyron Lacey or Aaron Anderson and get some pressure with this D-line that's proved to be a proficient D-line in the entire country when we are able to pin our ears back and throw some rushes, some blitzes, some different looks at them. And so you're going to have to mix it up. You're going to have to show some different things pre-snap and roll into some defensive coverages and play some man and some blitzes. But you get in this quarterback's head, I mean, there's a real chance for turnover, for mistakes, and for him to go from that guy like Gabe saying and that, man, NFL potential to, man, who is this guy? What is he doing with the ball? And so that's what I see this weekend.
Whether or not the Sooners can run the ball will be another big factor in this game on Saturday night. LSU 14th out of 16 in the SEC in rush defense. The scoop on LSU brought to you by Brahms. Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Stores, farm fresh for over 50 years. And what does OU have to do? That's what's on the menu, brought to you by Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. We'll take a look at scores from around the country. Big matchups on this rivalry weekend ahead. And what's Gabe's beef tonight when we come back on the Huddle? Stay with us.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Air Comfort Solutions. Your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today.
Milroe asks for the football. He's got it. Sooners bring pressure. Picked up. Hit as he throws. Ball's in the air. Intercepted. Woody Washington on senior night. Intercepted. Milroe got smashed.
All right, welcome back. Before we get into the football talk, just an update. The 8th-ranked Sooner women have defeated DePaul tonight in Vegas 85-62. They are now 6-0. They will play Duke Wednesday night in the Ball Dogs Classic Championship out there. So way to go, Jenny Baranchek's team. It's time now for What's Your Beef, brought to you by Didier Ranch. Didier Ranch's premium ranch-raised beef can be shipped anywhere in the continental U.S. Visit DidierRanch.com. That's DIDIER Ranch.com to order. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better. Gabe Eichert, what's your beef tonight?
I have a beef with the SEC office. And it is not related to the fine.
Okay.
Not related to the fine. But Fabechi Wiwu was named the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week.
Yeah.
And they put a graphic out.
Right.
And that graphic has a play on it. And it is Fabechi Wiwu's worst play of the entire football game. So, my beef is, is whoever's responsible for that, one, just an idiot, or two, they think that's funny?
It's a defensive guy. He doesn't know what he's looking at. Yeah.
It's his
Offensive line.
worst play of the game. And Fabechi played a solid game.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Greg Sankey, if you could call Gabe after the show and let him know
Kamish, come on, man. What are we doing?
how that happened.
Well, in all seriousness,
Fabechi's got to be looking at that like, you got to be kidding me, really?
you give this guy this. It's a reflection of what the offensive line did as a whole. And it's a cool moment. You get this tweet, and that's the play they use. If I was Fabechi, I'd be so mad.
Let's skip scores if you don't mind back there. Let's go to the games coming up this week because I think that's more interesting. Well, everybody knows what has already happened, but here's what's coming up this week. You got Texas and Texas A&M back together again on Saturday night. Winner of that game will take on Georgia in the SEC championship game, and the South Carolina-Clemson game is a big one as well.
Ooh.
Big ramifications there. That'll be a great football game. In addition to, of course, Oklahoma and LSU. And we'll have our hot takes on what's going to happen in Baton Rouge when we come back here on The Huddle. Stay with us.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Thompson kneels it down, and that'll do it. And here they come. They're not going to keep them off the field in Norman. Oklahoma has upset Alabama, and they have rolled the Tide right out of the college football playoff picture.
Final segment brought to you by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Quick hot takes, final segment. Caleb.
Hot take, Eli Bowen. We've talked about him a bunch in his coverage. Man, I want to see Eli Bowen come off the edge and get a strip sack this weekend.
Whoa!
Eli Bowen strip sack. Gabe,
Yeah.
you got yours
Prepare
last week,
yourself.
by the way.
Prepare yourself.
I'm ready.
Jackson Arnold, 40-plus yard touchdown pass.
Wow.
Wow. So hot.
I mean, he's got a 90-yarder this year, but they have been rare.
I don't know who it's going to go to. We're out of receivers. But when you
Major
think
Melson is gonna have a 40.
LSU's defense is going to be so focused on stopping the run. Throw it over the head.
40-plus yard pass. Stick around. Brent Venables, Teddy Lehman coming up next. Boomer Sooner.
The OU Huddle has been brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. And by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.